Good afternoon. How's everyone doing? This is an amazing crowd. I'm really happy to see everybody here today. I'm TJ, the library program coordinator, if we haven't met or you've never been to one of our programs. And it's my pleasure to welcome you all to our beautiful library and observatory today. So we had an incredible summer of amazing summer reading program with hundreds of kids coming in here every week. But I'll be honest, I really missed all of you, and it's so wonderful to see you all back. I love the kids, but it's a little lonely. So it's just really great to have this turnout today. Before we get started, I wanted to take a moment to thank our sponsors, Gerald and Lori Ernst. Thank you very much. They have actually generously sponsored several programs over the course of the last few months and into the future even, and we're some folks who just appreciated a variety of what we put on here and said we'd actually like to sponsor it, put our name on those programs. And if you didn't know, that is something that you can do. If you're interested in that, you can just let any of our employees know, and they can put you in touch with myself or our director, Aaron, and we'll be happy to talk to you about how that works. Or if you just want to make a donation to the foundation, and the foundation is how we support all of our programming here at the library. It's really easy to do. We've got a drop box in the back, or you can, easiest way to do it is just online for most people. So we really do appreciate that sponsorship and support to be able to do programs like this. Today we have the wonderful Chef Shannon Bush. She's been a plant-based chef for over 30 years. She's worked as an executive chef, a head baker, a caterer, and a culinary instructor. And she loves to demonstrate the many benefits of plant-based eating and to prove that healthy food can be delicious. And she has definitely become one of the favorite presenters here at the library, and we love working with her as well. She's going to have today's program, which is Soups On, but I do want to let everybody know that on Thursday, October 17th, will be part one of a special Home for the Holidays series that we're going to do with Chef Shannon, and then in November 14th, we'll have the part two of that. So I'm sure she'll tell you more about it, but those are listed as well in our program guide. If you don't already have one, pick one up in the back of the room. But without further ado, I want to hand things over to Chef Shannon Bush. Welcome back, Shannon.
Thank you. Really glad to be here. I'm really excited so many of you came out to learn about hot soup when it's still nearly 90 degrees, so thank you. So yeah, I'm glad you're here today. I hope to see you all next month and then November as well. Next month we're going to be making the first half of a holiday meal, and then November will be the second half of the meal, including desserts. I'm sorry, I don't remember the dates, but I do know there are some programs back there that have the details, but I'll make sure I'm here on the right date. So we're going to start off today with some tortilla soup, one of my favorites. And one of the greatest things about tortilla soup are all the fun toppings you can put on it to make it taste great. So I'm going to start off by getting to a medium-high heat in my soup pot. And I'm going to put a little bit of avocado oil in the bottom. Avocado oil is my oil of choice when I do use oil. It has a higher burn point than most oils, and the thing that I really love is that it has a very neutral flavor, so it doesn't overpower the food like an olive oil would, for example. Olive oil, whenever it's in something, you can definitely taste the oil. This kind of disappears in the food. So it's great for baking something sweet and savory as well. So first thing we're going to do is start off cooking our veggies. If I can get the container open. There we go. So just a combination of carrot, celery, and onion. Anybody know the French word for this combination? Mirepoix. Oh, you guys are good. veggies cook, I'm going to start prepping some of the things that we're going to put on top of the soup. I'm going to dice some tomato. Got these pretty little Italian tomatoes that are really nice because they don't have a lot of water in them. And by the way, for those of you that are new, I do encourage you to ask questions as we go along. And don't be embarrassed, don't be shy, because chances are if you have a question, someone else may have that same question. So feel free to speak up.
What's the name of the Italian?
These are San Marzanos. San Marzano tomatoes. They're fresh. You can also buy them canned. These I got at Trader Joe's. For those of you that come on a regular basis, you'll know that I get a lot of my things at Trader Joe's. I think I'll cut one more here. I know a couple of you were asking me in the spring about the knife blade, the Santoku blade. Did anybody go out and buy one? No?
What's it called again?
This shape of blade is called a Santoku. It's a Japanese word, but all of the knife makers make this shape. It's great because it's a multi-purpose knife. You can do everything. You can make paper-thin slices on a soft tomato, and you can also tackle something sturdy like a sweet potato. I've had a lot of people ask, so I wondered if anybody did any knife shopping this summer. I do. I do sharpen my knives. I have, some people use a stone. I just prefer the steel. I find it easy, fast and easy. Japan will either be late spring or early fall next year. Do you want to go? So one of the things we're going to do on the trip is we're going to go shopping on Kapabari Street, which is, I could spend all day there, several days there. It's about 170 different stores that are all things kitchen and food. And they're all right in one small area, one street in Tokyo. And it's a great place to buy Japanese knives or pottery and ceramics, kitchen gadgets you didn't know that you really you can't live without. Yes, I'm going to lead a tour to Japan next year. You can check my website. It's not official yet. There's just there's a rough itinerary on there. The holdup right now is I don't know if I'm going to do late spring or early fall. If you were to join me, how much time do you need? Is late spring too soon? Oh. I like that. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. Kapabari. Kappa, possibly double RI. So I've learned that bari means bridge in Japanese, and kappa is like a mythical creature. And a lot of the artwork and decorations along the street are of this creature. And the creature has an interesting place in history. Some of it not rated G, so I'm going to let you do your own research if you want to find out more about a kappa. That's an interesting question. Someone asked if I find a lot of the Japanese food plant-based. I have to tell you that on several trips before the pandemic, I was able to do just fine. I just went in the spring, and it was my first time post-pandemic going over there, and was really dismayed at how in just such a short time, how much more westernized the food had become. It was really distressing to me because, as many of you probably know, Japan holds one of the blue zones, one of the areas on the planet that has the healthiest people, and that's going to change. It's really sad. But there's still wonderful food to be had, but that's why I'm leading the tour, so you can find your way without starving. I've got it all figured out, so I've done the legwork for you. Okay, I'm going to add some spices to this. The veggies are getting tender. Let's start with some garlic. I decided to use some lazy garlic today, the little frozen cubes of garlic.
Do you think that's better than the jar with?
I think it's better than the jar, but it's certainly not better than fresh. Yeah. I'm going to put the equivalent of about 3 cloves in here. The jarlic, I've never heard that before. That's great. Ah, okay. Most stores have this, but this particular one is from Trader Joe's. I also buy frozen ginger this way. And I have fresh of each in my kitchen, but there are just some days when the easy route is preferred. So I'm going to add some cumin and chili pepper. So one of the things about making homemade soup, there used to be a pretty prevalent myth that it took hours and hours to get a nice, rich, homemade soup. Not the case. And there's a couple of things you can do to help add that depth of flavor to your homemade soup. One of the things is to cook your spices in the oil. What else do I want? Some cumin. I added some granulated onion, which is similar to onion powder, but it's just a little bit more coarse. And some chili powder, and now I'm going to add some cumin. So when you cook it in the oil like this, you don't want to do it at the beginning because it'll burn before your veggies cook. But now that my veggies are mostly cooked, I'm just going to do this for a minute or so, and it will really release the flavor and the aroma of the spices to help give your soup that depth of flavor, that, simmering on the stove for hours flavor. So that's one of the cheats to bring out the full flavor. What am I forgetting here? Oh, let's put a little black pepper in there too. Can anyone smell the spices? I know I can, but I didn't know if it was carrying back there. All right. And I'm wishing I would have brought a smaller water container because this is going to be difficult to do gracefully. But I'm going to add some water now. I would just dump it straight in there, but I'm trying to be good and trying to follow the recipe. At home, when nobody's looking, I just wing it. What is that, 3? Thank you.
Can you use veggie stock
You can use veggie stock instead of the bouillon cubes, but I like to use the cubes because you can control the flavor better. I find most veggie stocks, let me rephrase that, I've never tasted a veggie stock that I thought had a nice, robust, full flavor. They're always kind of bland and lacking in my opinion. If you like it, use that instead. Yeah, just skip the bouillon cubes and just use the veggie stock, but I truly haven't found one that I like. What am I doing here? So that's why I use the bouillon cubes. So, later on I'll taste it, and if I feel like it needs a little bit more flavor, I can always add a partial cube. But when you have, a bottle of veggie stock, it's, you can't change the concentration or the flavor. Does anybody know if this is 5? Oh, you guys are good. You're paying attention. Thank you. Okay, there's 6. You didn't know it was an active class. Sometimes I need help. I get distracted. All right, now I'm going to add the bouillon. At home, I'd probably dissolve it in my water first, but that was a little complicated here. This is a brand called, is it No Chicken? What is it? Looks like this, Not Chicken. And some nice people are going to go home with a box of that today. A little bit, I think, but not enough to turn me away from it, because I don't. No, they don't carry it. I got this at Whole Foods, and a couple of the stores in the area have it, but it's also easy to get online. Albertsons, thank you. Possibly Sprouts, but I don't know for sure. Yes, they have a reduced sodium one, and they also have a garden vegetable flavor. But this one is a great flavor for this particular soup. All right, now I'm going to grab some tortillas. I'm going to use about 6 of them. So some people used cooked tortilla chips in their soup. Some people use just regular tortillas. That's what I'm doing. The cooked tortillas taste nice in the soup, but they add a little bit more sodium and they add some oil. So I don't really want to add more of that. So I'm just going to chop these into little pieces. And we'll get them added to the soup. And what they'll do is break down and thicken the soup a little bit while giving it that nice corn flavor. Yeah, these are just regular corn tortillas. Yes. They usually just have 2 or 3 ingredients. Usually just corn and water, sometimes salt, sometimes a trace of lime. But yes, tortillas are usually a safe bet. So I'm going to just mix this up well. My bouillon should be dissolving. And I'll just stir it every now and then, trying to help those tortillas break apart. You'll see that the finished product, you'll see that there's not much left of the tortilla pieces. For the most part, they break down. Does it still smell good? Okay. All right, so let the heat do its job, and I will finish our toppings here. I'm going to do a little sliced avocado. It's going to go into the soup. As soon as the tortillas break down a bit, I'll add the rest of the ingredients.
How well does this tortilla soup freeze?
I don't know if I've ever frozen it. I do know that if you refrigerate it, it'll stay good for about a week, but it does get thicker as it sits with these tortillas in it. So I found that sometimes I have to thin it a bit as I heat it up. But if you freeze some, let me know how it goes. Tortillas are starting to get soft and they'll start breaking down shortly. All right, so I have a small can of green chilies ready to go in there, and I have some crushed tomatoes. Sometimes. Someone asked if I use fire roasted tomatoes. Usually with pasta, I use those, but yeah, those are nice also. I can go ahead and put the hot sauce in, just about a teaspoon depending on how much heat you like. This is just the Trader Joe's version of sriracha, but use anything you like, anything you have on hand. Or skip it altogether if you don't want the spice. You can see the tortillas are starting to disappear. Can you, or is there too much steam? I don't know. Almost there. I'll cut a little bit of cilantro while we're waiting. If you don't like cilantro, you can use parsley. A little sprinkle of green on top is a nice touch. Almost there. Thank you for bringing that up. Someone asked if I use the stems as well. I absolutely do. The nutrients that are in the leaves are also in the stems. In the old days, you used to take a stem and carefully pluck off all the leaves. Yeah. Just chop the whole thing up. Stems are good for you. And they also add a nice little bit of crunch and texture. So yeah, definitely use the stem. Same thing with parsley. You paid for the whole thing, you can use the whole thing. All right. Almost. I know I said that before, but it's really almost there.
Is there a reason you cut the avocado around? I always cut it from tip to the other way.
Yeah, my thought was that I'm not going to use the whole thing, and there's less of it exposed to air if I do it that way. Who was here in the spring when I made guacamole? Yeah. My technique, I don't normally cut them. Well, I'll cut them in half like this. I'll pop the pit out, and then I just squeeze the flesh out just with my hand using the peel. That's my technique, and that gets, it cleans out the peel really nicely. I have a feeling 2 of these will be enough. You know what, it looks like I didn't add any nutritional yeast to this recipe, but I'd go ahead and add some if I were you. Don't have to, but it's an inactive yeast. Regular yeast, like the kind you would make bread with, is active. This is deactivated, and it's very nutrient dense, and it adds a very nice, I don't know, so I've heard it described so many different ways. Kind of nutty, kind of cheesy. Probably a heaping tablespoon. You can use it on a lot of different things. I sprinkle it on popcorn. It goes in sauces. It's a great topping for pasta because it kind of has a cheesiness to it. I use it when I make like cheese sauce out of nuts or something. Very handy, and I think there's one in my gift basket today to give to some lucky person. You can buy it nearly everywhere. There are a lot of different brands. I'm quite fond of the Trader Joe's store brand. Sorry. I heard the voice out there, and I'm not quite sure. I'm trying to speak to you, but I'm not sure where you are. But looks like this, Trader Joe's, and it's only around $3. Very affordable.
Is that the same kind of yeast that you use to make bread?
No, bread is an active yeast. So as you mix it with the water and some kind of sweetness, it starts to grow and expand. This is deactivated, so it doesn't work the same way. It's just all about flavor and nutrition. It doesn't do anything other than add flavor and nutrition. Okay, my corn tortilla has broken down enough. I'm going to go ahead, add the rest of these things. Go the green chilies. I'm sorry? No. Green chilies, they're not very watery. The liquid in there is just broken down green chili for the most part. So go ahead and add the whole thing. No, green chilies are quite mild. The green chilies? They're from Trader Joe's. Yes. I wish they had a frequent chopper punch card or something because I would do pretty well there. Oh my goodness. You know, I've thought about writing a Trader Joe's cookbook with, all the things I make with their products. Maybe I will. The thing I love is they've got all these great products, but they keep them affordable. So many of the new vegan products they're kind of cost prohibitive. And then if you try something and you don't like it and it costs you $10, it's like, ooh. But Trader Joe's, they keep their prices very reasonable, so that makes me happy. I mix it in the pasta, sprinkle it like Parmesan, or you can put it in the sauce as well. But yeah, very versatile. So what else do I need? Let's get, you can use pinto beans, black beans. Today I'm going to use black beans. I've drained and rinsed them really well. In many soups, you can just add the whole can, juice and all. But with this, or with black beans, they're basically floating in black ink by the time you get them home and open them up, and it'll really color whatever you put them in. So I'm trying not to mess with the color of the tortilla soup, so I rinsed them, got rid of all the black juice. Okay, just a few finishing touches. Let's get some lime juice in there. This one is nice and juicy, so it's going to add a lot of great flavor. Okay, am I missing anything? I don't think so. Okay, let's stir in the lime juice and see how it tastes. I'm going to leave it as is. No salt needed. It's perfect. Okay. If I do say so myself. So hopefully the library staff will enjoy this today. Yes. I did. I used some sriracha. Trader Joe's brand of sriracha, but it was sriracha. You can use anything you have in your fridge, anything that you already like, but I'm partial to that version because the ingredients are nice and clean.
Do you find a big difference if you substitute lime for lemon or vice versa?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah. I think this soup really needs lime. So I'm sorry I don't have a bigger ladle. This might take a while. And it's so hot I don't want to tip the pan and pour it because, well, you know. So I found out today, in the beginning when I started doing cooking classes here, I used to bring my own serving dishes, serving platters. But the library over time has actually purchased these different items that I need. And I found out today that after my class last spring, they went and bought all of these nice bowls for me to use. So I'm really feeling the love today from the library. Just one less thing for me to haul from home, so they take good care of me here. Yeah, they might be motivated by the food they get, but they're really nice people otherwise. So you can see, or hopefully you can see, not much is left of the tortillas, other than they've left behind a really nice corn flavor. All right, I am going to attempt to pour the rest. Let's see how hot that is. Not too bad. Let's see how it goes. I'm pouring away from you, those of you sitting in the front row, just in case. And this cast iron pot is not the lightest thing. All right, so where am I going to put this thing so that I don't burn a hole somewhere? I also don't want to melt the polyester tablecloth that's here. I want to get invited back. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, I really made a mess today. So I'm going to take a mound of tortilla chips. Any brand will do. I happen to like this one because the chips are thick and sturdy, so they last a little longer. You know it. Trader Joe's. They are, if you haven't tried them, they're really nice. They're a cleaner version, they're organic, but a cleaner version of like Fritos. Yeah. So, some chips. And I'm going to put a little dollop of vegan sour cream. No, I'm sad to say that is one thing there that I don't want to be mean, but I like this brand, Kite Hill. Yeah. 99% of the things at Trader Joe's I would definitely endorse, but not the sour cream.
Where did you get that?
This one is from Whole Foods. This one has a nice tangy flavor to it. And the ingredients are nice and clean too. Not a lot of garbage in it. Okay. And now we need to add some color. How about some avocado chunks? So this is the best part of this soup, like I mentioned earlier, is all of the great things you can throw on top. So some greenery will be nice. This is chopped cilantro, stems and leaves. And
You wouldn't put it in the soup to cook with it?
no, it kind of disappears that way. I like the nice fresh crunch that it adds to as a topping. And a little tomato. Oh, and I have one more fun thing to put on here. I found, you won't believe which store it was, but Trader Joe's, they have some crispy jalapeno pieces. So I had to buy them so we can try them. Crispy jalapeno pieces, and I thought they would go beautifully on here. Oh dear, my wet fingers, I can't. I might have to. Someone help me out. My fingers are slippery. Thank you. Lifesaver. Appreciate it. Okay. Let's just put a few of these on top. I don't know yet. I haven't. But I couldn't resist. When I saw them, I thought, oh, those will go perfectly on the soup. So here we go. Here's tortilla soup. Thank you. Well, that's one thing they don't get. They don't get it while it's hot. They have to wait. So it's nice of you to think of them, but no, they have to wait until class is over. I like to leave this stuff out. I know that a lot of you like to come up and get a closer look. So, all right. How am I doing on time? Am I okay? 20 after? Oh, dear. Okay. All right, we're going to get busy really fast here. This is going to be the corn chowder. So instead of the avocado oil, actually I'm going to start the potatoes in a little bit of avocado oil, and then I'll add some vegan butter in a bit. So this is a semi-peeled and diced yellow potato, a Yukon Gold potato. And they're one of my favorites to cook with. So I highly recommend not subbing out. If you make this recipe, I recommend that you use a gold potato, a yellow potato. And normally I would encourage you to leave the peels on the potato when you're using potatoes in your recipes. But I do, the potato skin or peel provides, here's my knife, provides fiber and some nutrients. So if you peel them, you're missing out on an opportunity for more fiber and nutrients. But the problem with using or having the peel in the soup is that they can start to color the soup, particularly other kinds of potatoes. Like a russet potato, you'll end up with a gray soup. So I recommend removing most of the peel. I left a little in just because, just kind of like made stripes on my potato. But normally I would encourage you to eat the skin. You can use fresh corn, frozen corn, even canned corn. I always have some of the organic frozen corn in my freezer. Just kind of nice to have it on hand. I'm sorry, when I'm standing in front of that, I can't hear.
I see you have flour.
I do.
Can you substitute a gluten-free flour?
You can, or you can use some cornstarch. Cornstarch is going to give you more of a clear broth, though, than this creamy-looking broth that this will have, but it's okay to use. Does anybody have to leave right at 3? Boy, I really thought I could pull off 3 in here, but I start talking and then... yeah. Okay if I go a few minutes late? Yeah, hopefully. You won't get the hook and pull me off. So I told you before about one of the methods that I use to give more depth of flavor to the soup, and that was cooking the spices. So another technique that I like to use, I'm not going to be able to demonstrate because it'll take me a little bit more time. But another way to infuse a lot of great flavor into your soup in a short amount of time is to, as you cook your veggies, let a very slight brown film develop. As the moisture leaves your pan or cooks out, it starts to get a little bit brown on the bottom of the pan. If you allow that to happen, and then when you add your liquids, your pan will release that brown, and it will infuse your soup with a wonderful flavor. Now, if you burn it, don't do that. You got to start over. You don't want burnt soup, but there's also a French word for that. So it's called deglazing your pan, or technique. And it's really a great way to add some nice flavor to your soup. But it requires paying careful attention to your soup pot, and it's probably best to do when you're not rushing your soup. So I'm cooking the potatoes before I add the other veggies because they need a little bit more time. They are more dense than the other veggies. So we're giving them a head start. The vegan butter that I'm using, there's several brands that I like, but this one happens to be from Trader Joe's. It really has a nice flavor. If you still eat dairy and you're trying to eat less dairy, I recommend giving this one a try. I think it'll be a pretty easy transition once you try it. Just out of curiosity, how many of you already eat a plant-based diet? Nice, okay. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's a step in the right direction. And I'm delighted to see the number of hands that I did see. I have to tell you, I've been doing this a long time, and from all the people I've met over the years, the people that stick to it and really change the way they eat are the people that do it bit by bit. So sometimes I'm happy to hear that. That's actually a good thing. It's really difficult to eat the typical American diet and then overnight throw out everything you're familiar with, everything you love, and start like that. Those aren't the people that make it in the end. Those are the people that I run into 4 months down the road, and they say, well, first they try not to make eye contact. And then but I don't judge. I know it's hard. It's my biggest hope that I can be a resource for you, if I encourage you, if I can answer any questions. I give everyone my email address. I am very, very happy to answer any questions you may have. I just, I see the benefits in the people that have made the switch, and I want good health for everyone. So please do not be shy about reaching out to me if you want to know how to convert your grandma's recipe, that life wouldn't be complete without making this recipe. I can help you with the right substitutions and whatever, so you can still have food you love, but stuff that's a little better for you. All right, are these things cooking at all? It's like the watch pot never boils. Kinda. Yeah, they're still pretty hard. The question was, which plant-based meat products do I use? Not very many anymore, but when I'm cooking for other people, like if I had you over for dinner, that's when I use them, because I don't want people to feel like, oh, I've got to go to Shannon's house and eat rabbit food. I try to make food that you might be familiar with, that you like, and I do use products then. I've used the Beyond and the Impossible beef substitutes. There's like a Beyond, I think it's Beyond brand, like a spicy breakfast sausage that has a nice taste. They're great transition products. Oh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, how do I feel about it? I think they're great products to use to help you transition or to help you eat less meat. Because I think if you used a recipe that calls for a pound of hamburger and you substituted the Beyond or the Impossible, I think you'd be probably just as happy with the results of your favorite recipe using those products. They've made them that similar. But I never ate those things, so I don't crave them. But when my husband gave up meat and dairy, he did crave those things, because he had a traditional American diet when I met him. And, no meal was complete without one or two kinds of meat. And so we used a lot of those products probably the first year or two when my husband first gave up meat. But one of the things you have to be careful of, one of the things that motivated my husband to change is he had high cholesterol. And so when you transition to the plant-based foods, they don't have cholesterol, but many of the processed things have saturated fat. And if you have an issue with your cholesterol, you gotta watch the saturated fat as well as cholesterol. But I do notice, like every once in a while, I'll just stop and read the labels, and they are cleaning up the ingredients in a lot of those products. But yeah, I think they're great things to use to help you eat less meat. Oh, they're getting tender. All right, I'm going to add my veggies, or we're going to be here all night. I don't have anything better to do. I don't know about you guys, but when I plan one of these classes, it's really difficult for me to narrow it down to just making a few things. If the library would give me the time, I'd keep cooking into the evening here. I'd just keep going. There were so many soups that I wanted to make for you today, and to narrow it down was really difficult. I wanted to make my spicy pumpkin soup. I wanted to do a butternut squash bisque with apples and caramelized onions. See, I know it. They should give me 3 hours, right? Please do. You know what? I did make spicy pumpkin soup here once a long time ago. So that recipe is online or on the library's YouTube channel. Do you guys know about that? So the library records all of these classes, and they put them, and they're awesome. They're the crew up there, and they're hard at work. They usually get them out the same day. Not only do they broadcast it live, but they also get get it permanently put on their YouTube channel. So there's a whole archive of my classes on there, recipes, including the spicy pumpkin soup. And then another one that I love is a lemon orzo, and I made that one last fall, so that one is on there as well. I am. My first one should be out next month, just in time for the holidays. And I'm working on a series, and the series is based on the questions that I get from all of you when I do these classes. So this first book is one of the most common questions I've gotten over the years. And the question usually goes something like this. Hi, I'm not a vegan, but I'm having a dinner party and somebody's coming that is a vegan. What do I do? So I usually get some version of that, always. And so this first book is it's with the holidays in mind. I'll have several suggested menus that will please everybody at the dinner table, and also just kind of help you out, because I've noticed it's very stressful to cook for someone that's plant-based when you're not plant-based. So I'm hoping this book will help a lot of people out. If you are plant-based and you go home to a family holiday, Thanksgiving meal every year with dread in your heart, hopefully this is a book that you could give to a hostess that would help them out in the future. Let's hope. That's the plan. Yeah. Yes, it is. You can find both. Not at Trader Joe's. This particular one is salted, but you can find unsalted in other stores.
Is it made from soybean?
No, this one has fava bean in it. Okay. All right, so same as last time, I'm going to throw the spices in first. First thing I'm going to get in there is the smoked paprika. That came out really fast. There we go. I'm starting to get a brown spot on my pan, so we'll be doing some deglazing after all. So I'm going to have to add my water, or some water now. Otherwise, it'll be bad. I'll get a burnt spot in there. So I'm going to go ahead and get my other spices in. A little black pepper. And everything has to have some granulated onion. It just contributes to the depth of flavor, the overall soup. When you add the granulated or onion powder, it infuses every little bit of the soup. Whereas the piece of onion, it adds great flavor and texture, but it doesn't necessarily flavor the whole thing. Oh, good. Thank you. Oh, thank you for coming. Sorry I'm running late. Is it really that? Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. When I first started, I was always running late, and then I finally I got better at it. And so now I've gone backwards. So thank you. Can you tell TJ that on your way out? Cut me a little slack. I'm rusty. I do if anybody wants to stay, and you'll stay, then I'll cook. You.
We can stay until Japan.
Oh, until Japan. Okay. All right. Fantastic. We'll be here a while. I hope I have enough groceries, but so I'm going to add some flour now. I should have done it before I added the water, but that was a little emergency measure so that I didn't burn. But I'm just going to stir it around so that there are no clumps. And then I also want to let it cook a little bit. Flour is actually raw until you cook it. And it is not safe to eat until it's been cooked. It can carry salmonella in it, which I think is very strange, but it's true. I apologize to those of you. I will do better next month. Thank you. You can come anytime. All right, the flour cooks really quickly, so it's nearly there. So add the rest of our water. Just a little bit at a time. Probably good on the water. And the remaining liquid is going to be a nut milk. In many things that I cook, I used oat milk. But oat milk has a darker color to it. What did I do with the almond milk? Here we go. It's white, so it doesn't color the soup or make it darker, so. You can. That was another soup I considered making today, is a Thai carrot soup that has, sorry guys, I only had an hour. I hesitated on that one because I know a lot of people are watching their cholesterol. That might be the reason that they're cooking this way. And unfortunately, coconut is one of the few plants that has saturated fat, which is really bad for our cholesterol. So almost all plants are great for you, but if you have cholesterol issues, you need to really limit your coconut oil. Palm oil is another bad one. But my Thai coconut soup has a lot of coconut in it. So, yeah. but it tastes really delicious. All right. I'm going to taste it really quickly just to see how we're doing. So I think, I don't know, here's my measuring cup. I'll use it just for fun. Do a couple of these. Okay. It's at about the consistency that I'm wanting, so I'm going to taste it, grab another spoon, and see if the seasoning is correct. I'm going to add a little more pepper. And a little bit more of the granulated onion. And we'll call it good after we add our corn. Okay. And the corn is over here. Just going to add about a cup of corn kernels. Perfect. So this one, I'm just going to top it with some parsley and a sprinkle of the smoked paprika. And I think it'll go nicely in this bowl. Oh my gosh, so many of you are hanging in there. Thank you. I'm very grateful. There's a true smokiness to this. It's been roasted, and it's very different, and it's a very nice addition to the flavor.
And you can get it at Trader Joe's.
Yep, or anywhere else. Oh, no, I didn't add any. Someone was asking about the ingredients in the non-dairy butter that I was using, and it's an ingredient in the butter. It's a little splashy. I am aiming it towards you now. Nothing personal. There we go. Okay. Yes, absolutely. And I should have. This is a little hot. What am I going to put? Okay, and I have some parsley somewhere. Is it here? No. What did I do with it? Okay, where is it? Here we go. All right, I have some actually some finely sliced green onion as well. But we'll just give it a nice. And then a sprinkle of the paprika. The one thing about this brand, though, it's really tough to open the container. All right, corn chowder. Thank you. You guys are okay if I keep going? Okay. I'm fine, yeah. Thank you for asking. Thank you for coming. I'm sorry. Apologize for the... Maybe. That would be great. Yeah. All right, I'm going to use the vegan butter again in this one. I'm actually making a mini recipe because I didn't have another large soup pot. So I'll be using less of everything. I love cooking in cast iron. It's big and heavy, but it's sturdy, and mine has many years of seasoning to it. I really like using it. You do, yes. Yeah, so they actually warn you not to use it as an everyday pan, just more as, a couple times a week maybe, because it does release iron into your food. Okay, so in the recipe, I recommend that you cook the mushrooms ahead of time, or not ahead of time, I'm sorry, separately first. I did that at home to save time today. I guess I knew I was going to be running late. The reason being is, in the course of making this soup, they get kind of beat up. So I like to cook them ahead and remove them, and then add them back in at the end. Yes, cook them ahead in the butter, and I make sure I use up all the liquid. The other thing is that they can release sort of a brownish liquid, and that can color your soup, and brown isn't a super desirable color for soup, I guess, so. But if you cook all the liquid out, by cooking them separately, then you won't have that issue either. Sure. I like to cook them and just barely brown the edges a little bit. And then I like the slices. You can chop them any way you like, but I like to slice them. That way they, just a bigger piece. I'm sorry, I have to step away. I couldn't hear all of it.
Sorry, the mirepoix, do you make it did you do it just for this class?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't just keep a big caterer.
No, not a bad idea though. I use a lot of it. But yeah, I was prepped for this class. Okay, so I'm going to rush this one a bit so that you guys can get home before dark. Gonna add some flour. I'm going to actually add a little bit extra flour. So you'll see in the notes that I tell you you can add an extra tablespoon if you want it to be thicker. And I added that because today I'm going to serve these in little puff pastry cups. So I'm making it a little thicker. If you want the soup, probably the 3 tablespoons will be a nice consistency for you. But I'm making it a little bit thicker because I'm going to use these little puff pastry cups that I baked this morning. They come frozen at the store. Yes, I made them at home. I was up at 5. See what I get for talking? It's okay. It's a close one, though. Add some water. Well, those are Pepperidge Farm. They have the bad oils in them, the ones that I was saying you need to avoid if you're watching your cholesterol, the palm oil, but they are vegan. Whoops. So I'm going to add some garlic. These are from Albertsons. They're kind of fun little things if you're entertaining or want to make something fancy. They come pre-cut into these little shapes. No, they all have palm oil in them. This pan is a lot thinner than my other pans, so I'm going to blame it on the pan. It wasn't me. These are actually pans that I bought on Kapabari Street in Japan. They're a nice size. They're stainless steel instead of aluminum, but they're a little thinner than the soup pots. Yes, and I have a new friend that's a culinary instructor there, and we will be spending the day at her house on one of the days where we'll learn to make tofu, and then we will all work together and make a feast. So lots of fun things. I'm sorry? Yeah, it's going to be a small group, 8 to 10, something like that. Oh, well, I'm just taking people with me to Japan, so I guess we could record parts of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep, I'll be there. Be able to show you some of my favorite spots. We'll do some day trips, but try and stay out of the way of all of the crowds. It's really being over-visited right now. So, Oh, I was actually there during Golden Week this spring. Worked out okay, but yeah, I wouldn't want to take a group then. Well, you just have to sign up and pay your deposit. I'm working with a local tour company, and they will handle all of the details. I'm giving them the itinerary, and then they will do the bookings and handle the reservations and everything. I'm sorry? Oh, not yet. Let me get things finalized first. I've held off on doing that because I just wasn't sure about the timing. I just want to avoid the humidity, so it's either going to be late spring or early fall. The issue with early fall, though, is that they're at the tail end of typhoon season. So that could throw a kink in things if there was a typhoon during that time. Yeah, it's quite crowded then. This last spring, I went right after that, and most of the crowds were gone. But I've been enough that I kind of know where to go and how to avoid the worst of the crowds. Oh, fantastic. Yes. Oh. She does. My daughter married a Japanese citizen. My daughter went to school there, for those of you that don't know, and fell in love with the country and a local. Yeah, the people are wonderful. They don't want to come back, I know. Yes. Okay, let's see where we're at. I didn't add the bouillon cube. Right here. So yeah, the people are just, I think every American should experience it because it's really something to realize the differences, like things like safety and respect and honesty. It's just glaringly different. I have a story that I like to tell people that we went on a night kayak tour of the river that goes through the center of Tokyo on our last night there. And it was actually in the rain. Welcome. I'm running late today. I'm sorry. But so at night in the dark, as we got ready to get in our kayaks, those of us in the group and it was a deserted park. There was no one around. And the man leading the tour said, "Oh, you can just leave your things there," pointing to the corner of the dock. Well, all of us had our passports, our money, all of our things like that in our bags, and so we all just kind of stood there going, not leaving them on a deserted dock in the dark. And the man leading it, you could tell by the look on his face, he couldn't understand why we were hesitating. And then he said, "Oh, you're worried it might get wet." It's like, oh. No, that wasn't the primary worry, but he said, "Oh, let's just put it in my car then." I said, okay. But crime is just just about non-existent. So they aren't, you don't live your daily life with, having to think that way, like, oh, I can't leave my purse sitting there or whatever. Just glaringly different. Yep. With the keys in the ignition. Absolutely. Nope. Respect others. Yep. It is. Yeah, we saw that all the time. Keys in the ignition, windows down, and a purse or a wallet sitting on the seat. It's about 12 hours one direction and 9 hours coming back, or is that reverse? When you're traveling with the jet stream, it's only 9 hours. It's not bad. Goes fast. Thank you for coming. Okay, so now we're just going to add the rice and the mushrooms. So I'm doing a combination of white rice and wild rice. Yes, pre-cooked rice. And doing something like this when I need two types of rice, it's the time to cheat. It's the time to use frozen rice or the packaged rice that doesn't have any additives to it, because it'd be a pain to make two different kinds of rice in addition to making the soup. So the white rice was frozen, and the brown rice came in a little pouch. There's no additives other than water, and it's super easy. Indefinitely, and yeah, it freezes just fine. All right, I think we're there. I don't think I left anything out, but we'll call it good regardless. Parsley on top, and whoops, I have a few mushrooms to put in too. Okay, what I'm gonna do is take about half of my mushrooms and put them in. And then the other ones I'm going to sprinkle on top because I think that'll look kind of nice. So I'm going to sort of fill these little pastry cups. Overfill them so they look pretty. And then it all can be eaten with a spoon. I don't have any clean utensils left, so here go the mushrooms with my fingers. Don't tell. And then some parsley. And then I still have the little lids. These can go on there. There we go. It's just a fun way to serve the soup. You still eat it with a spoon, but kind of nice in the little bowls. Right. Thank you so much for staying late today. On the back of your program, does anybody have a program with a number handwritten on the back? Come on up. Come see me. And I think, how many of you are there? Because I know some people had to leave. 1, 2, 3. So that's 4, 5. Okay, come on up. Whoever has number 1, you have first dibs. There's just some fun things in here. There's some wild rice. Sure.
That sounds great. Thank you. Have you heard of a brand called Cousins? Something Cousins. It's a vegan. They have rices and they have beans.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, no, I'm not familiar. Oh, I'll have a look. Sure. Thank you. You're welcome.